Hi everyone. So, a couple years ago, or maybe more than a couple years ago, I honestly don't remember, Michael from Catalyst Reads created something called the Rereadathon. And basically what it was each month had a prompt. It was like, oh my god, I can't even remember them now. But basically, I think one was like reread a book out of your favorite series, maybe reread a book from childhood, and stuff like that. And it was really fun, and I really enjoyed a lot of it. I think I did at least a few of the prompts. I don't think I made it all the way through the whole year, because I didn't have a book for everything, I don't think. But it was a fantastic idea. And Abby Mack Reads and Alex Black Reads are continuing the Rereadathon because unfortunately Michael is not currently on YouTube. So they have given a list of the prompts for 2020. And so I thought I'd go over it and talk about some of the books I might be rereading. So, for January, the prompt is to reread a book that has been translated or a book where a character speaks more than one language. So I've not read a whole lot of international books, I'd say, that were not in English. So I might, if possible, because January is approaching very soon, I might attempt to reread Battle Royale. I have this on my BookTube's top 10 list. It is a book that I really enjoyed, and it is very thick. I think it's about 500 and something pages. But I've only read it through once, and I'd like to do that again. Number 2, or the one for February, would be February's is a book you haven't read in over 10 years, or a book you don't remember much about. And for this one, if I can dig it out, I'm going to finally reread Chicken, which is like number 51 or 52 in Goosebumps. I've mentioned it before. It is the first Goosebumps book that I read start to finish, and I read that when I was 8 and a half-ish, 9. So it's about time I reread it. And then for March, a book written in or set before you were born. There's quite a few books, obviously, that are set before I was born that I could reread. And a lot that I have read in school and when I was younger that I might want to revisit. Interview with the Vampire would be one. Of Mice and Men would be another. To Kill a Mockingbird. I wanted to revisit that one eventually. So maybe any of those. Let's see. April, a genre I usually don't read anymore. And that's kind of odd because I don't think I've read enough of one genre to read or reread for that one. Possibly going back to some of the classics, because you read more of those in school, and as of lately I've read more modern YA and middle grade. Or maybe I'll even throw some children's books in there, like from, my younger school days. Let's see. So we have January, February, March, April. I forgot to put these down. So we're on May now. May is a second chance book. So a book you DNF'd, a book you had mixed feelings about. And I'm probably going to go with the book I had mixed feelings about and reread We Were Liars. I read it through audio, so I don't think I caught all of it. I like the prose in it. I like the writing style, but some of the things I didn't find totally believable, but maybe upon reread, I will like it more. Because I did enjoy it, I just had issues with it. So June would be a book that made you laugh or inspired positive emotion. I'm saying emotion. And for that one, I am probably going to try and reread Beauty Queens by Liv Bray. I absolutely love this book. I read it through audio. It was hilarious, but also very deep. And I have the book in hardcover that I got from Goodwill. And maybe I'll try to see how it is reading it physically than having someone read it to you. I do recommend the audiobook very, very much so, though. So July is a book that taught you something, and I can go for a lot of spiritual books with this one. I can go, I'm going to get into Guide to Wicca. I can go for a book called Living Buddha, Living Christ. A book called God's Debris, which was fiction but made you think. So where am I at? So we got January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Okay, so August would be a book that surprised you, either with a twist or surprised you about how you felt about it. And for that one, I might reread Jessica's Guide to Dating on the Dark Side, because while I thought I was going to like it because it sounded fun, I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did. And I would like to revisit something more lighthearted and fun. So I don't read enough of those. Let's see. Reread a book that was recommended, or buddy reread a book. So, if anybody wants to look at stuff that I've read through my YouTube channel and you want to buddy read it with me, obviously, if you haven't read it, it will be a first time read for you, but a reread for me. I'm totally up for buddy reading stuff. But a book that was recommended, I don't know if anything has been directly recommended to me that I have read yet. Possibly. I can't even think of one. I cannot think of. You know what? Not directly recommended, but it was on somebody's channel. Maybe I will reread Zombies vs. Unicorns, because that is a favorite of mine. A book set in a different country, culture, or world. I'm not really sure. Because again, like I said, I haven't read a whole lot of international books. Maybe I'll revisit some manga for this one and just make, that month a little bit more of an easier reread. And the next one is read an underrated book. And I guess it really depends on your definition of underrated. Maybe I'll reread Unwind and then finish the series. Stargirl, I feel, is quite underrated too. So if I want to go for a light read, maybe I'll read that one because I loved Stargirl. And a book that comforted you. I would have to go back to a lot of middle grade books. And you know what? Maybe I'll reread Matilda. That one was very fun, lighthearted, and books. So that is my maybe TBR for the rereadathon. What I plan to try and reread, because I do also want to reread. I do also want to read books I have not read before, but I love revisiting books that I've loved before. And, each time you just get more and more out of the story. So, we'll see how 2020 goes. but I thought maybe I'd set up a maybe TBR. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.